What's up, spell singers? My name is Garion John Wells.
I'm Drew Flitton.
And I'm Cory Janibagian.
And this is Untap
Upkeep.
Drink. Beer up.
Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're talking about homebrewing in Utah. This is going to be a beer-heavy episode. I know that we just put out a survey talking about, getting more magic content versus the beer content, but we had to do a special one here specifically because St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and we wanted to do something fun with it. So we brought along a guest. This is my roommate, Andrew. He is a homebrewer, and so he's going to walk us through what that's like being a homebrewer in Utah.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So go ahead and introduce yourself. Who are you? What are you? What is your background here?
Well, I'm originally from Boca Raton, Florida, and I moved here to Salt Lake City about 4 years ago. And coming to Salt Lake, I missed a lot of my brews from back home, and we have a quite limited selection here from out-of-state brews. So missing my Florida brews, I decided I should probably get into homebrewing. And lucky enough, I had started and got better and got to the point where started actually enjoying my beer. So
that's always a good sign, right?
Everyone just this is okay. So what would you say is your favorite beer of all time?
Oh, man. Okay.
We'll just put them on the spot.
I feel like that changes almost week to week, if not day to day.
That's fair.
But one that really sticks with me is the Funky Buddha Last Snow. And that's a chocolate coconut coffee porter.
God damn.
Yeah, it's a lot.
A little teaser for us there. And then I guess we should probably just plug our own socials real quick.
Yeah, obviously we want you guys to check us out on YouTube. We are really gearing up to make this YouTube thing the home base, but until then, we're going to be making videos for each one of these episodes. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at UUD Podcast or Untap Upkeep Drink. Any messages are welcome. We've been getting a lot of feedback, and as well, we've got the survey. Go ahead and give us your responses and your feedback, but we're already getting a decent amount of data. We're going to start making some moves to hopefully be more appealing to the masses.
Yeah, we've been talking. You guys have been giving us a lot of good responses, stuff that we really like to see. So keep it up.
All right. I guess let's jump right into it. So we've got 4 beers here today. Makes sense. There's 4 of us. The beers kind of tell a story as far as Andrew as a home brewer. First one we have is Guinness. I've got the extra stout that I brought along. And that one, Guinness is just kind of like the prototypical Irish stout. And if we're going to do an episode talking about, Paddy's Day and having that kind of generic Irish stout, I feel like Guinness kind of meets the bar there. And I grabbed the extra stout just because it does have a bit more oomph to it, which, I think it was just because it was in the liquor store and I was like, oh yeah, we need that.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Because we can actually get the normal Guinness, I think 4.8, something like that, in liquor stores now. Or not in liquor stores, but in groceries.
Yeah, this one's 5.6, so it's just over the limit that you can get in a grocery store.
Yeah, and according to several different sources, about 47 IBUs. I don't think Guinness actually lists their IBUs, but it is what it is.
Sounds like an exaggeration to me.
It's not very bitter?
It's not super bitter. No, it's pretty sweet. This one I think is a little more sweet than a standard regular old Guinness. It's got some of those earthy porter kind of notes to it, which is all right. But it's just, like you said, we're using this as a jumping off point. It's very basic. It's a malty, slightly alcoholic stout.
Yeah, you can taste the alcohol. You can't really smell it, but you can definitely taste it. It's got a little bit of that alcohol burn.
Yeah, that kind of zing to it. It has the almost a metallic smell to it.
Yeah.
You get some of that yeasty flavors.
It's a super gorgeous, just jet black. Nice.
Oh, it is just lovely
nice,
malty.
Dark. Yeah, malty sweetness it's hard to beat.
Yeah,
I forgot how good Guinness is.
Yeah, literally before this, you guys were talking shit on it, but as soon as I taste that, I'm just that's what I want out of my Irish stouts.
Yeah, there's a reason it's the benchmark.
I was going to say, it's really accessible, which is why it's...
I gotta say, the mouthfeel on this is just so smooth. It goes down
seriously.
silky smooth.
Yeah, every single time you have Guinness, you think is it on nitro? Do we have a lactose additive to it? What is the...
Yeah, there's something in there. I don't know what it is that they do. They probably have a lot of different little additives.
Yeah.
But it's just got silky smooth mouthfeel. It goes down easy. It's exactly what you expect it to be. I think that's kind of what you look for when you get a Guinness. So
Yeah.
they nailed it.
And then to kind of use that as our jumping off point. We were talking about, for the Patty's Day episode that we wanted a homebrew, right? And you and I at home, Andrew is my roommate. I guess I haven't mentioned that yet. We're talking about like
conflict of interest.
Yeah, right. Making something that
A homie hookup.
yeah, exactly, that we could have around for Patty's Day through March. Wanted to have initially thought about doing like a red ale or something like that, which would be, I think, more fitting. But we're both just like, yo, but what about a stout?
Yeah. I suggested a sour, but whatever.
I'm a fan of sours.
I don't think
It's not very fitting for St. Patrick's Day. So next time, maybe.
And so ended up kind of like doing the malt bill that you had for the brew. You shared it with us in our group chat there. Kind of suggested maybe we lean away from like what the strictly Guinness recipe would be, push it more into like a chocolatey kind of vibe.
Right. Yeah, we definitely use some chocolate malts in this, aside from some rye malt as well.
Yeah, I like the addition of the rye malt. Yeah. A good note.
So yeah, this is we definitely want to go to the more chocolatey side. So the chocolate malts helped, and I think the OG, the final gravity ended up being a little higher than what I wanted, but it gives it that little sweetness to it, I think.
Yeah, and to say on this one though, like while the final gravity was a bit higher, like this shit was dry when we first tasted it. Like the carbonation came through really nicely after it was bottled, but like that first taste while we were bottling, like that was a dry stout. Like it was like very solid, like American rendition of an Irish dry stout, which I was super keen on.
Right. This bottling is interesting because the bottling sample tasted a lot different than the bottling sample, or when we actually bottled it and cracked it open.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one it's coming in at 5 ABV, and then we got a measurement of between 30 and 40 IBUs. So it's in that good little mid-range there. Right away, it smells very, very chocolatey. It's got that nice jet black color like you'd expect from a stout.
Carbonation came through really nicely on it as well, which surprised me. So,
oh man!
Before you say anything, I will say the one word that I have, or I guess one phrase on this: crushable stout.
Yes, this is smooth as hell. It's got an incredible mouthfeel, and it's not overly sweet like some stouts are. It has got a lot of good malt characteristics, but it is just so smooth. There isn't a lot of chocolate on the palate, but it's just malty goodness.
Honestly, I think it's better than it was last time we tried.
Yeah, the chocolate malt itself isn't gonna really give it too much chocolate flavor. I think it's just called chocolate malt because that's what
it definitely has the aroma.
But the taste is definitely gonna be more of the roasty coffee, if anything.
It's so good.
Looking at it next to the Guinness has just a little rim of red as it hits the light at the end. This one's just fucking dark. It's dark black. We did a good job on that one. That one's it's got a lot of base. You know what I mean? It's really, really full and rich on the coffee, bitter, chocolate, dark chocolate kind of notes. I think that one's a little less approachable for the average sweet tooth kind of guy, but that's a good stout.
Yeah, it's definitely not sweet, but I think it's a lot smoother than a lot of stouts. Yeah. And you don't get a lot of that heavy alcohol taste that
and for homebrew it has great carbonation, which is
it's solid all around.
So next one we got is, I guess, the one you kind of teased. We got the Funky Buddha Last Buffalo in the Park. So this is the bourbon barrel aged Imperial Last Snow Porter.
Say no more. I've been looking forward to this.
He's been eyeballing it ever since he got here.
Wow. So just before I even take a sip, the aroma is like going to blow you away. It's got almost a heavy chocolate caramel, coffee, all that's in there. And it tastes just like how it smells. So it's got all the flavors packed into that beer. And they come through beautifully, really. It's like it does, I think on the nose, let's see, I have to take another sip, I think.
So this one was the Funky Buddha aged in the Buffalo Trace barrels, right?
Funky Buddha is the brewery.
Oh, okay.
But it's the Last Snow Porter.
Aged in
Buffalo Trace whiskey barrels.
Dope.
Yeah,
I could drink that for breakfast.
Yeah, the smell, you can just smell that this isn't only beer. You know what I mean? You can smell that like extra bit of alcohol, that like
it is like kind of 11.5%. And
goddamn, but it smells kind of sweet, which is weird. It's not just like an alcohol burn.
Garion,
we're 2 for 2 so far,
dude. No.
He doesn't want to pass it.
Everyone's taking 2 sips.
That's straight candy. I'm not lying. That is the sweetest beer I've had probably in a year. That is so.
It smells just like Kahlua in the best ways possible.
Oh my god!
You have all those sweet
dude.
notes and just the coffee notes coming through.
You guys, the coconut. There's got to be coconut in there, right? Did
Yeah.
you say?
Yeah.
Coconut.
The coconut is like right on the top, and it's a coconut cake kind of taste. Holy shit!
It really
dude.
is candy.
It's
It's
like
it's just chocolatey and coconutty, and then it just flows right into the malty sweetness. It says 11.5%, but I'm not tasting any
No.
alcohol. It is smooth
Tastes
as hell.
like Cadbury cream in there. You know what I mean? Like it's that sweet.
So
And you guys
It's
know
interesting.
I got
I look-
sweet tooth, so
yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this beer.
it's interesting to me that the brewery lists it as 11.5%, but just on the bottle it just says 11. So somebody's lying somewhere.
Yeah.
I had
It
to
is
top it off
a
because
little too sweet for me. Like, I don't think I could drink that whole thing, but it's so delicious.
holy shit, that is coconut and caramel.
Yeah.
It's a fucking Samoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Girl Scout cookie.
It really
Just the
is.
season.
It's like Samoas in Kahlua.
I'll be honest, this is a banger.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously.
I'm hoping that it doesn't turn out like the White Russian that we had, where after you sip on it for an hour, you're like, okay, this is too much. Because right now it's sitting pretty.
Yeah, and it's got a lingering sweetness to it.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I can
The
taste.
thing is, though, is on this one, like the White Russian, it did what it did very well, and it just stayed there and didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not dislike if this one stayed where it's
Yeah,
at, right? Like
this
the-
one I think has a lot more depth than that one,
Yeah.
especially with just those
But
bitter.
because
coffee
it's a stout, I
chocolate
think it
notes.
does have some places to go if it warms up, having a little bit more of like a malt flavor than just a sweet
Yeah.
flavor. That could be really
Yeah, the malt flavor coming through would be nice to have, but it has this kind of like caramel coconut that kind of like blends almost into like a maple syrup kind of vibe, and it just lingers there for a while, and then it kind of becomes chocolatey, and that's where like that Samoa flavor comes from,
Yeah.
and just I don't know it does
You
have that.
have to drink water after it, though. You need a palate cleanser. Like it really does linger.
Yeah, it just sits there. The alcohol is the last thing that kind of sits there on the tongue. It just is lingering. But there's, I don't know if it's necessarily the malt, but there's almost like, you know, the actual cookie part of the Samoa, like has that kind of like bready.
Yeah, just the
That
shortbread
yeah,
part.
that exists as well in there somehow.
Yeah, that is a very, very dope beer.
You know, I'm gonna have to come in here and disagree. I think I just want to keep on sipping this. It doesn't really sit on my tongue too much. And I just,
Really?
yeah, like really clean finish to me. I don't know what it maybe it's something I ate earlier or something, but I could just keep on down in this and
Oh, it's not to say
Going
that
forever.
we're not saying we can't just down
Yeah.
it, but it's one of those ones that like,
I still taste it.
Oh, yeah.
right now.
I think
Which
that
is fine.
yeah, I think that you can just have like the enjoyment factor on this one where you do want to extend it for as long as possible.
Yeah.
So, Andrew, would you say stouts are your favorite style of beer, or
no,
do you
I
like all kinds, or what's
I
your
don't-
go-to?
The only kind I could say with confidence I don't like is a Goza. I just hate the acidity, the saltiness.
Saltiness.
But every other kind of beer I'm a huge fan of. It's hard to pick one. But I do tend to lean towards IPAs, but stouts definitely have their place. Porters have their place. So those probably are my top three: IPAs, stouts, and porters.
You
So,
are in good company, my friend.
Yeah, he's very similar palate to what Travis has, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Both being home brewers. But yeah, if you
Maybe
didn't
there's
say
a reason.
IPAs weren't one of your favorites, I was going to call you out. And I was like, IPAs are definitely your jam.
I mean, after drinking a lot of IPAs over the past few years, I think I'm starting to tend towards lighter beers now. Though I'm definitely taking a shift towards lagers and hefts. So just,
Hell yeah.
it's just getting interested into like a really clean, crisp beer.
Yeah.
It's been rewarding when, especially if you brew your own. Like if I did a lager a couple of years ago and it turned out really nice, I'd only got to enjoy it for about 2 weeks before the keg accidentally froze.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it tasted like butterbeer after that. So I'm trying for 2 more right now, and I'm waiting on those to be ready. But
Yeah, chilling and lagering.
so
Okay, Drew, we got one last beer. Which
So
one's
this
one?
is Ketos Brewing Pro-Am Series Winter Porter. And so let me just read this part of the can. Release number 1 of our Pro-Am series is a 7% ABV porter with coconut, coffee, and cacao nibs brewed in collaboration with Salt Lake City homebrewer Andrew Frost.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the homie.
Frosted Morning Pow Porter won a gold medal at the 10th annual Beehive Brew Off. We fell in love during the judging process, and we're grateful to give the opportunity to experience Andrew's beer.
That's super cool.
Oh, shit.
So not only is this like a legit beer in can form that came out of like a real brewery. One
Bought
of the ones
it
that like
at a store.
Yeah, we're pretty fond of here. I mean, all of us like ketos, but it is based on Andrew's gold medal winning beer, like based on your Frosted Pal.
Yeah, pretty cool.
No big deal.
So this was a year ago or so.
So this was 2018,
So,
like August.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I think
Year and a half?
It was brewed later in November.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have just a couple extra of these, basically like the last stock that people have, and so sharing one with us on the episode. So we do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Oh, interesting. Compared to, so granted, this is a barrel-aged version of the beer that inspired the winter porter here, the Frosted Pal. It has like a very distinct, more like coffee note on the smell versus like that kind of sweet caramelly coconut. And the flavor, I think, also mimics that. There's a lot of kind of like malt heavy flavors, but also the coffee note is like really strong on it. But kind of a little bit of sweetness that I get from the cacao nibs, but I don't know, it's interesting. I feel like the coconut, which is more strong in the more recent version of the porter that you made, is way stronger in that one than it is on this one.
Yeah, as soon as you pick up this beer, you definitely smell the coffee. If anyone's had the Keto's coffee cream ale, it'll definitely smell familiar to you right away. But then you get into it, and it's got that body, and it's got a full flavor profile here with the maltiness. But I think it's really crushable though too at the same time in a weird way. Then again, I said the the funky Buddha beer was pretty drinkable as well. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like dark beers are just like
Just
really
like
easy to
chugging
drink.
stouts.
You know, like going up the ski lift, just gotta chug whatever's in.
True.
But,
Keep you warm.
exactly. So maybe that's where it came from.
It really does taste a lot like that Keto's cream ale. It doesn't have like the same texture, like the creamy syrupy kind of texture. It's a little thinner and swallows really nice, but it's super good, nice and malty and coffee bitter, a little bit of like maybe dark chocolate bitter. I don't taste any hops, which is a huge plus in my books most of the time.
I mean, hops was not a note really that we got out of any of the previous beers.
I mean, it's not really what you're looking for in stouts. You're looking for those sweet, malty bitters.
Yeah, just on the nose, it just smells like just a nice dark chocolate.
Yeah, I think even my homebrew version as well, that won the gold, was a little more coconut heavy. And I think that's also the first characteristic that'll start to fade on any aged beer. The coconut will, at least for the coconut, it'll fade.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But,
I mean, really, the Funky Buddha, too, could have taken that away, too, because there's a strong,
for sure.
lingering coconut on that.
Yeah.
Too.
So, Andrew, would you say that you make this brew like every year, or how many times have you made this
absolutely
beer?
every year?
Is this your go-to?
Yeah, I have to now, especially
your namesake.
So the gold medal winner was actually my first run of it.
Oh snap!
And because it won, and like they got the pro-am, I kind of have to brew it every year, and I love doing it too.
It's your legacy.
It's my favorite beer to brew. It's my favorite beer to drink. So I mean, I have to brew it every year, if not once, twice a year.
Yeah, if you like mimic one of your favorite beers and it turns out really well, like you're probably gonna keep doing that. Like,
yeah,
For sure.
all right, so kind of getting into
This
the beers.
Guinness
it's
sucks now, just so you guys know.
I mean, I think it's a very good like standard that we set, and I think that's why we had you explain your beer first and then go around.
Yeah.
Because
It is true, yeah.
when you think of a stout, most people think of Guinness.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason why I actually wanted to introduce these beers in the order that I did, was because the Guinness is kind of like, as good as it is, it's still kind of like the generic stout, right? And so it's something that we started as like a base idea of what we wanted the homebrew stout to be, was an Irish style stout. Kind of changed it as the ideas were flinging back and forth, and I think that the frosted stout is solid. Like, I really like the fact that you were able to make a dry stout that still also has that like sweetness, but that sweetness has developed since bottling.
Yeah.
Right. Because initially, like the first taste that we had when we had the night that we were bottling was like super dry, and like it had this kind of like soy sauce umami flavor that was like super weird, kind of like detracted from it, but at the same time was its own thing. So like, well, that's different. I don't know if I like that you're drinking. You're like, oh, I don't like that. but I want to keep drinking it. Oh, maybe I do like it. It's just like confusing.
See, that's how sours are. You're just like, ooh, this is kind of, I don't know. This smells like an armpit. No, okay, no, I like it now.
But like there's this kind of like evolution of ideas that comes through homebrewing, right? Like the last snow becomes the winter porter. I will say, I told you this before, but like I'm really annoyed that they didn't let you keep the fucking name as you make it. Like they changed it to a winter porter, you know, which is just like a generic as fuck. But like yours was the, what was it? Frosted's Morning Pow Porter.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like
That is a way better name.
yeah, but like I feel like it describes the beer better because like you're a snowboarder. Like that's one of the things that like is just part of your like history as a brewer as well. It's just like the fact that you made this as a winter beer, but you named it based on the fact that like you are like a powder hunter and when you snowboard. So it's like
Right. Yeah, I think they at least kept it a winter porter. I think I was talking to the brewmaster, and we were thinking about calling it a dessert beer. I'm kind of glad we didn't. I like the fact that they kept it a winter porter at least, and like generally speaking, all the Kitos' beers are kind of like named after what they are, like red ale,
pretty simple.
American
Yeah, they're
lager.
pretty generic, but in a not derogatory sense.
I think they just wanted to keep in brand, I guess.
yeah, I guess that's fair. So we kind of talked about how you got into it. You know, coming to Utah, you don't get your Florida beers. Like we are pretty limited as far as our beer selection is
You
concerned.
could say that again.
Yeah, but let's talk about the styles of beers that you've actually made. Like, what is the repertoire that you have to bring to the table?
Okay, well, I started out trying to chase after IPAs, and I was doing that not knowing how hard it is to nail an IPA. Hops are so hard to get down perfectly, especially with the aroma. This is also another characteristic of beer that starts to fade rather quickly, especially in homebrewing when you don't have control over oxidation. So I was doing probably like 3 or 4 or 5 different iterations of IPA right off the bat, and kind of wondering why like I wasn't doing so well. And then I jumped into doing this. Actually, this is probably like my 5th beer that I did, and just nailed it. And then I was like, all right. So I started learning a couple things after that. Just being like, okay, now that I'm making something I actually like to drink, I want to keep on doing this. So, and I kept on going, doing a bunch of different stuff. So let's see. I mentioned I've done a lager before, which is a regular Pilsner. I've done red ales. I've done, oh man.
Is there any ones you haven't done? That might be the easier question.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many I haven't done. There's so many styles of beer. I just did my first kettle sour a month ago. Yeah, there's that's the thing about brewing is there's so many different styles and iterations of each style. There's like infinite number of ways you can brew something, and you never know how it's really going to turn out. So that's what keeps me going, kind of. Just the pure number of styles that are out there.
So next question here, what are you planning next? Like obviously you got the lagers in the work. We got those in the keezer, kind of like letting them lager essentially just over time there. Aside from that, I know you've been working on a kettle sour past couple days, but what's the plan? Like what's the 6-month plan, we'll say?
Oh man, 6-month plan. As I'm drinking, I'm like, oh man, I want to do this and that, and I'll just start rattling off ideas. I guess I could tell you, I want to do a sweet potato beer really badly.
Yeah, that one.
What?
That one's gonna be an adventure.
Yeah, that would be something cool to share at Thanksgiving, I think.
What kind of style would it be?
Like a cream ale maybe,
Okay.
or just something like easy and crushable, but has that sweet potato flavor to
Down.
it. Maybe like a little nutmeg in there too, or something.
Just
Yeah.
instead of there's a dessert beer and a breakfast beer. This is a dinner.
Yeah, right. The thing is that we tried, I think it was Roadhouse's, their sweet potato porter,
Right.
and we were both just like disappointed because there was no like sweet potato flavor at all. It was just like a porter, and it was a totally fine porter.
Yeah.
But like we're both just like, yo, sweet potato porter, not really. So getting into homebrewing, like you started homebrewing in Utah. Can you kind of break down what the homebrew scene is in Utah without getting into the club just yet?
Okay. Well, the scene out here in Utah is actually, you wouldn't think it would be that great.
Right,
but
like Utah, everyone sees it's just like basically like a prohibition state still.
Yeah, we're 100 years behind everybody else.
Exactly. Like with the draft laws has only 5%, you think, oh, but actually it makes more of a reason for there to be more homebrewers because there's so many limitations on commercial beer. So the community out here is amazing. It's really tight knit. Everyone's super nice, very welcoming. And the great part is because we're booming, so many breweries are opening up. A lot of these newcomers are like welcoming people into their brew house and just like giving them tours, and you're seeing people take off from the ground floor, which is really interesting. You don't get to see that a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it, what makes people so welcoming as well.
Yeah, not just that, but like even the established breweries are like super, super supportive of new breweries and home brewers and stuff like that. Like they're so encouraging and supportive that I didn't really expect it. But like when you took me into Bewilder, and they were doing their soft opening, it was basically only for people that were part of the homebrew club and people that were already in the industry. And it was crazy because like literally just you were like, hey, can we sit there? I was like, yeah, whatever. And so it was people from Bohemian, is like one of the owners and one of the head brewers, I guess the head brewer, and it was just like, whoa, I love you guys' beer. Like, big fan. But it's just like
Pilsners.
totally normal conversation, just like them explaining why they're doing certain things the way they do it, and things that would, I think, in most industries be like, not quite trade secrets, but like things that you keep kind of close to your chest that you don't just tell everyone. And they're just like, oh yeah, this is the reason why we did it, you know?
Yeah, I think just the fact that most of the brewers in here are like maybe 20, 30 years old max, so that everyone still kind of has that homebrew kind of feel. So everyone, it's that community, like Andrew was saying, just everybody is sort of friends and homies with everybody, and everyone's swapping secrets and stories and stuff.
And to that effect, you've got the homebrew club that you're in.
Right. So the Latter-day Saints, it's a great homebrew club. And if anyone wants to come, you can just walk in and see what it's like. If you're brewing, starting out, or if you've been doing it for a long time, I highly recommend joining a group, whether it's Latter-day or ZZ Hops or any. I could name them all if I wanted to, but if you were to join, I think you're going to learn a lot. And just talking to other people, you get motivated to go out and brew things you normally wouldn't. You learn about new topics and new processes, and it's a really great way to just get involved in the community. And you're going to be sharing a lot of beer with a lot of people. So
yeah, the way you describe it is pretty intense. Just like, oh yeah, people just show up and just have like, $15 bottle, just like, hey, you should try this. Just like it's basically what we do here, but just on a larger scale. It's like people talking and sharing and like having that community aspect to beer
Picking
drinking.
apart every beer and like what makes this beer different.
And what's really cool is, because they're all homebrewers, they can kind of tell you what you should do differently in your process, not just like, oh, this tastes a little off. And like, no, you can do this, though, to fix it, or try this or that. So
Which is important.
Yeah. And then it's like, it starts to get you thinking on your way home, like, wow, I maybe really should change up my process and see how it goes. So it's just a great feedback loop to have,
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
So I just tried the Funky Buddha, part of the Living Barrel series. This is the last Buffalo in the Park. It's fucking incredible. Holy shit. Like, Andrew just like gestures to me, hey, and I'm like, obviously I want to try it again. But this thing is, to say that it has developed, I don't think is quite accurate. Like, the flavors matured, I think. Like, the flavors that are there haven't changed. They've just become more like emboldened and stronger. And right. I feel like they've also blended together a bit more. Because before I had like these like distinct notes, and now it's all just like, the full flavor just all at once, and the smell is incredible as well.
Yeah, I think this is one of the beers that really got me thinking. Like, if I could brew anything I wanted to, this would be it.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of, I'm glad I did, right? But I'd go. Funky Buddha actually opened originally in Boca Raton, which is my hometown.
Nice.
And I'd go to they actually had a homebrew shop attached to the tap room. And
sweet.
And they had like a stage set up for open mics and like comedy, poem reading, you name it. And they had like this really cool like blues trio one day. And I think like one of my fondest memories, just like sitting, listening to like live blues, sipping on some Last Snow, and like just enjoying that like right in my hometown. It's like take that for granted like back then, but like now I wish I could go back and do that. So they've Funky Buddha's actually. They opened up a giant brewery in Oakland Park, just like a half hour south of Boca, and that's kind of developed into its own thing. They still served Funky Buddha beer in Boca, but now it's called Robot Kusatka.
What?
The Boca Raton Funky Buddha Lounge was actually handed off to a Pro-Am brewer that did a Pro-Am with Funky Buddha.
Nice. That's dope.
So they just asked him, like, hey, you want to start running the lounge? And sure enough, he did. So
That's awesome.
it's really cool. Yeah.
I wish we had something like that out here.
I guess kind of just to jump into Andrew's real quick, like the Winter Porter, I wish that
This is the one with ketos.
Yeah, I wish that I had tried this one like when it was first came out. But I also wish that I had the first run that you made.
Right.
Just because I know what the one that you most recently made. And that one you basically just like shipped out as like Christmas presents for everyone, right? It's like
Pretty much.
Yeah. Like I think I only
That's
saw
the best Christmas present you can get.
Yeah. I think that I only saw like 2 bottles that we had opened. We had one at like room temp and then one that was chilled. And the room temp one, like all the flavors really just kind of like opened up a lot more. It was fucking good. Like you had I guess describe the process for like the coconut and the chocolate and like everything that you did with that one.
Okay, yeah. So the coconut is just Bob's Red Mill. I'm giving away my secret here. Like I looked on a bunch of forums for how to add coconut to beer, and it's not as simple as I thought. So I found out that like the best product you can probably use is Bob's Red Mill's flaked coconut, and you put that on a baking sheet, toast it for about 10 minutes at like 300, 350 until it's nice golden brown. And I just put that into the beer in like a big Molson bag so that I can pick it out later.
Right. Yeah, instead of having to like
Yeah, that sounds awful.
with your strainer.
Yeah, so like there's a bunch of toasted coconut goes into I call it the secondary, but really it's just the end of fermentation. Basically 10 days before it's done, before I want to pull the beer, I'll add the coconut and I'll chop up a bunch of Baker's chocolate, 100% cacao. I can't find the nibs anywhere, so yeah, you can find all this stuff at Smith's. It's great.
And then, across the board there, we've got the Guinness Extra Stout. Garion, you seem less than impressed.
Garion has been wanting to drink all of our other beers rather than the Guinness.
So what I'll say about the Guinness Extra Stout, it is sweet, it is malty, it is a stout. It's good, but what I'm noticing as I go through these other 3 beers is that there's a really strong zing, like a metallic, sort of,
I feel that,
nickel kind of flavor in there that isn't obtrusive if you drink it alone, but if you jump around to these other beers, it becomes very apparent that that's a flavor that's there, and I don't love it as much. It's never bothered me when I drink a Guinness, you know what I mean? Like you just drink it, it tastes fine. But when your attention is brought to, you're like, damn, it's like this little thing that I can't get rid of.
Subtle note.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say it's not as sweet as it was compared to these other really sweet stouts and porters and stuff. But you do still have all that malty goodness that you would want in a stout. So I think it's really solid on that front. But it is kind of just one note. And that note is really good, and it's just malty goodness, but it is.
Guinness has succeeded so well. Because they've created something that is very much a stout, but is 100% accessible to anybody who wants to get in there and try it and see what that's like.
Yeah.
And then from there, we've got just the frosted stout that you made. And I like how Gary, and I include ourselves in the brew process, but really we were just there to keep you entertained.
We were there.
Yeah, I had to work, so I was not involved in the process anyway. I couldn't even just hang around and tell people what to do. But it's delicious. Like, you guys did a hell of a job. Andrew, you guys, I don't know how much you contributed to it, but
I suggested we add a different malt.
Moral support.
Yeah.
I think just the fact that I knew I was going to be brewing for you guys, I wanted to step up my game a little bit. So even though you weren't there, I knew you were going to be tasting it. So I wanted to brew a good one for everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like when this one, like when we first uncapped it, I was just like, holy shit. I've never thought of a stout as crushable, but it is.
yeah, it's weird because it's only 5%, but the alcohol has actually come through a lot more, and it's still incredibly smooth, and you still got a lot of that sweetness, but you can definitely taste a lot of alcohol notes.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if that's something that will hopefully fade with age. Maybe it'll start to round out. It is kind of a new beer. We got to
when
final.
was it that we brewed it?
That's a good question.
Almost a month ago.
Yeah. So it was a month ago, and we bottled it like 2 weeks ago, so it finished really early.
The thing is that
it's
like
still developing a little bit.
Oh, it definitely is, but
I
like
hope so.
it's still like super dry.
Yeah.
Like the sugar content on that like dropped compared to the first taste that we had just up when we were just messing around with the wort, and you could taste how much sugar was drawn out during the mash process, and at this point in time, it's like super dry. Still smells that like chocolatey kind of bittersweet,
Yeah.
but like my mouthfeel, it just like cuts through everything. Like I think following the Buffalo Trace aged porter with that has this like lingering sweetness, and then boom, just like sharp. This is the beer. Here it ends. So talking about the Brewers Club there, I'm kind of curious. What are the perks aside from like sitting and sipping on beers? Like you actually go to meetings for specific purposes.
Yes, absolutely. So each meeting every month, it's once a month. They discuss a different topic, and they'll really like deep dive as much as you want. And the great thing is, not only do we have homebrewers from inside the club presenting, we'll have homebrewers from outside the club. Just recently, we had the Brewer of the Year, Homebrewer of the Year, present on lagers, which was really interesting. He had like a very open discussion Q&A, and we learned a lot. But I think the best part is we have the professional brewers come in who really know their stuff, and you can ask them the most technical questions that you want, and they'll give you an answer. And they know it because like they're the guys brewing for all of Utah pretty much. So I think that's the coolest part is that we get all of the information just shared with everyone like as much as you want. Aside from that, we have club equipment you can borrow. So stuff that you normally wouldn't have access to if you don't want to invest in something expensive, the club can buy it and can share it with other people. Like
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, like the bottling gun I have right now, it's like after I used the clubs, I'm like, I'm getting this. This is way too cool.
I need this.
On top of that, like I guess you could say that just like I said, the feedback is really important to me. Having people who really care about beer and know how to make it tell you exactly what's up with the beer and like give you honest feedback is important to me.
All right. Homebrew Club has a lot going on. Who's in it and like who has come out of it? You and I have gone to some local places.
Well, I have to say a lot of the homebrew members have gone pro. And I've only been part of it for maybe a year and a half at the most. And I think before I was there, I know at one point I heard Clay Quito's brewmaster was the president. I know the Uinta brewmaster attends, the Shades brewmaster attends, like the Bohemian one, I forgot his name, but the Bohemian brewmaster presented recently. You've got, like I said, everyone in the community comes. It doesn't matter whether you're from a different club or a different brewery outside Salt Lake. They'll come and present or just be part of it to hang out and just talk and drink. So I mean, like it's really open to anybody though. Like the great part is we have all these really seasoned brewers, and you have people just starting out who like don't know anything. You're just excited about the hobby. So
And then we've got sorry, I just have like a list. So correct me if I'm wrong, but Level Crossing.
oh yes, I forgot. Level Crossing's brewmaster was. I think one of my first meetings, he was in attendance. And I was like, "Who's the dude with the beard?" And then not too much later, I saw the same guy, and he's brewmaster of Level Crossing. I'm like, "No way, I know that guy from somewhere."
And then we had after that, I believe, was Chad Hopkins.
Yeah,
Of Hopkins Brewing. We've had one of his beers on the show actually, and then of course we have the guys over at Bewildered.
Oh yeah, so that's a big one. These guys are like ingrained in the community. It's a Bewildered Brewing that just opened up on 4th South and 4th West. They basically, well, at least Cody McKendrick.
There you go.
Yeah, Cody McKendrick is the guy. And him and Ross. That's it. Those are the two owners, I think.
Yeah, Ross is the one that I think I talked with.
Yeah, and they're always at homebrew meetings. And I mean, now less than before, because now they have, a brewery to run.
Yeah.
So,
and like looking at like the start there, like because we went end of December, beginning of January. No, it was end of December, and it was before that they were actually allowed to like brew their own stuff. And so they had the collaborations with a bunch of different breweries, which is super cool. But like it shows it lends credence to the idea of the community in Salt Lake City, especially for home brewers and for just like the brew scene in general. Like we have a pretty damn special area for beer, which seems so weird, coming from Utah, the interesting stuff that comes around here. But I feel like we're blessed.
Yeah, a lot of us and a lot of the brew community, they just want to stick it to the man and say, they said we couldn't have beer. And so all these guys said, nah, we're going to make our own and give it to the people. And Andrew did.
we're going to brew at whatever ABV we want.
He blessed us.
Yeah. And kind of going along with that, I guess, can you describe the process of making the program? Like, obviously you kind of talked about what actually went into it ingredients-wise, but like you had this beer that you're like, yo, I like this beer from back home. I'm going to make it, enter it into a competition, which is your first competition, right? Then you take gold. Like,
okay, so like I said, I got really lucky with this beer. This is my first shot at it. Like, I didn't know much about homebrewing at this point. I was just searching the web for clones to get kind of like an idea of what goes into the beer, how the coconut and chocolate and the coffee is added, like what my malts would look like. And just feedback on other people on like forums and stuff like that who have tried to brew it before. And luckily I ran into something online that just basically laid it out. This guy had an idea of what malts were in it and an idea of how to add everything. And I kind of just took that with a grain of salt and said, like, all right, I'm going to go down to my homebrew shop, go down with these notes from the forum and see what I can throw together. And like, sure enough, they didn't have like all the same malts. Like, I had to change up a couple things. And it kind of just worked out. But yeah, like there was some like limitations to brewing this. So I had to use extract to get some of the ABV, like to like an 8% beer.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah. So I use a lot of extract, and I think that might have actually helped my quality because I was doing beer in a bag before, and doing extract, I guess, just like took out the whole steeping process of the grains for me. I did steep the specialty malts, and I think that's what made it so solid. I don't know, maybe the extract quality is just so good. It didn't have much off flavor at all, and yeah, it just turned out great, what can I say?
and then what was the process like after you gold medaled, which is dope. Like, what was the process like getting to the point where you actually got to do the program? Because you said it was like a month afterwards. Like, feels like a long time.
So it was funny when I went to the comp to like pick up my my papers for feedback. I heard like, yeah, they just put everything in an envelope and you just go pick it up and, you can see what everyone thought about your beer. So I came in like after the award ceremony just to grab my stuff and go. And I found like there's a medal in there. I didn't even know, like it's like a participation award or something. I go pull it out. And like before I even like see the medal, like I saw like the certificate for gold. I'm like, this can't be. Like, I didn't believe it. And I like went to go like ask the guy from the beer nut where I get my homebrew supplies, like, what is this? Like, did I just win something or something? Like, what's going on? And he's like, yeah, there's someone who wants to talk to you. You should go over, talk to the guy from Ketos. I'm like, word, okay.
Dope.
I can do that.
Yeah, and like, so he was super nice. And he was like, hey, so you want to brew your beer at Ketos? And I'm like, what? Yeah.
So they offered it to you that day.
Yeah, I was like, this is insane. This is like winning the golden ticket, It's like something like I dreamed of. I never thought would like happen. And then I didn't even know that kind of thing did happen until that moment. And then yeah, like I went out into the parking lot to like catch my breath and like take it all in, like pinch myself. You're like, is this real or what? Like, I should probably go back in there and like act normal. And so eventually, yeah, like I basically stopped by Kitos one day with some buddies, and I'm like, that's the brewmaster. Like he told me like brew my beer here, and like we caught eyes, and he like recognized me. And he came over and was like, yeah, so you still want to brew it? I'm like, that's all I've been thinking about like every waking second. So I was like, yes. And like a month later, I say we ended up brewing it. I just came over to Kitos with a buddy, and we spent all day there. All we did was brew my beer. Like it wasn't like a normal day at Kitos for like brewing like 2 or 3 beers, you know.
That's awesome.
So it was really cool. Got to spend the whole day with the staff, the crew, and like the brewmaster. Everyone's super nice.
But it was also like getting to that point, it sounded like it was a bit of a struggle. Like that you have to deal with their schedule, your schedule.
Right. Yeah.
Actually getting to that point, like, you kind of had to hound them a little bit. Like, hey, is this happening? Like,
yeah, I don't know if I necessarily had to hound him. I think it was just up in the air because like I had talked to him after the competition, and he like asked me. I'm like, of course I want to brew it. He's like, give me a call in like a week or text me in a week or something like that. Like a week goes by. Like I'm like, oh, I'm sure he's really busy. Like, you know, I can't like forget about that, you know. Like, so I was like, no, I'm just gonna go one day. I think that's like the best thing to do is just like, you know, see him in person. Yeah, and I didn't. Like worked out. Like I wasn't even sure he was gonna be there or not. And it was like right before a camping trip too. So I'm like, I have to do it now before like it gets to be like too long.
Yeah.
After we agreed on it. So. Yeah, like it was like I don't know. I guess the brewmasters are busy people. They got lives too, and like you know, it is kind of hard. I know the guy from the Beer Nut actually won a couple pro-ams as well. Like he's had the same situation where he'll win a gold or even like a best of show in the competition and be offered a pro-am with a brewery. And it just doesn't turn out sometimes, like for whatever reason. Like it's not just like he's being ignored, but maybe like the brewmaster who wanted to do the pro-am left the company or switched, or just just fizzled out for whatever reason. It's not the right time to brew the beer that year.
right.
You want to brew like a lager in the middle of winter, you know? Like, I mean, like at least like a Mexican lager, like a good like summer beer.
Right. So we're just gonna deviate real quick because we've got all these dark beers and they've been great. So I want to first just do a beer of the show before I get into the next part.
Buffalo.
Yeah, last Buffalo is really fucking good.
Oh man, I think the Buffalo is definitely gonna take the crown.
I mean, it's so hard to beat. It's so complex and sweet and good. And like we said, it was like too sweet, but I think we were wrong.
Well, I said I hoped it wasn't too sweet to where you couldn't drink the whole thing without like getting over it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, after switching, because I had the winter porter, Garion and I traded. It's down in the Guinness. I mixed it that with a little bit of the frosted stout. Pretty good. I like that combo. And then ended up just on the last Buffalo, just at the end here, and it's very sweet. Like the comparison between the two is a stark difference.
I think the great part about it though is like when we talk about beers, anytime we've given a specialty beer low marks, it's been because they said it was something and it was not that.
True.
Right? Oh, this has cherries. I don't taste cherry. This did everything it said on that bottle and more. It delivered everything we wanted. When you drink it, you just immediately know that was crafted. You know what I mean? Like people put time and effort into that to make it exactly what it is.
I think in this crowd of dark beers, it definitely stands out the most, right? And it's hard not to kind of gravitate towards it a little bit, especially once you've been drinking it for a little bit and you go back to the Guinness or go back to the homebrew.
They just kind of fall flat.
It falls flat.
Oh, this is all you got?
But by themselves, they stand up. So
for sure.
I'd hate to like say pick my own beer, but I mean like I mean as far as all these go for stouts, I'd pick mine over the Guinness for sure.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like overall, Last Buffalo is just the most complex.
Yeah. I mean, I love this frosted stout that you guys made. Like I've just been drinking basically only it this whole episode, but that Buffalo one is just, it's so good.
Thing is that like I feel like Last Buffalo is one that if I had like an 11.2 ounce, you know, like I could still share that amongst 4 people.
Oh yeah, it's
perfectly
heavy.
content. Like it's so intense in its flavor. Like it just is really punchy, whereas a lot of other beers just don't deliver that kind of intensity. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, every single flavor that you taste is a 10.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to nail flavors like that, just really intense ones, because if you mess it up, then it's just going to stick with you as a bad flavor. But this beer, the Buffalo one, it just nails every flavor that it's going for, like you said, Garion, and it sticks with you because it is so intense.
And that being said,
We're going to take a hard Ricky Bobby right here.
so the impetus behind this episode was originally St. Paddy's Day, kind of turned into a homebrew thing. And Cory, you've been kind of doing your own thing.
Yeah, so I started a batch of kombucha. It's just regular kombucha, not spiked kombucha.
If you guys have ever seen Joshua Weissman on YouTube, Cory is that guy in real life. Like, he just cooks and makes all sorts of fermented, homemade, just delicious things all the time.
Yeah,
He's
so
a fucking animal.
This year I've been trying to mess around with fermented stuff and get a little bit funky. Some of it has been real bad, but the kombucha that I made. So this is my first batch of kombucha, and it was an oolong tea. And then I flavored it, and I did a couple different flavors because I knew it was going to be on the show. And so I just bottled it, and it's ready to go. But it's just a pretty chill little kombucha.
So transitioning from these dark as hell home brews and or delicious beers, we're going to take a hard right here. In transitioning, we're going to have a little padding here. What's this called, Drew?
This is my kettle sour. It's called the Bloody Valentine Blood Orange Sour. Yeah, it's my first go at a kettle. It's I don't know.
See, that reaction is exactly what I knew was going to happen.
I'm just watching.
Okay.
I'm just watching Garion drink that.
First and foremost, the color is incriable.
So
Yeah, it's like a peach color.
Can we just describe what Garion did? He tasted it. He closed his eyes. He was happy. He fist pumped. Like this is like all of the things that you want to see somebody after they drink your brew.
Yeah, so it's extremely acidic, which is huge for me. I love something that'll give you that pucker, but it's got a ton of fruity. You know what I mean? It's not just sour. It's almost got, like the islandish kind of fruits in there. It's a little bit sweet to kind of balance that sour out. That is exactly my summer. Like, give me 12, please. Oh my God, that is good. That is fucking
so
good.
it says it's a kettle sour with blood orange, ABV 5%. Andrew, do you have any IBUs on this delicious beast?
I couldn't tell you. It's probably
zero.
like 15 to 20, at the most.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell with sour.
Yeah,
My tongue is
sours
saying
kind of mess everything up.
4.
But so on the nose, you just really get just acetic notes. And I'm into it. But oh man, Garion was right. Andrew, you done good. This is everything that you want. It's super nice and crisp. It's got a lot of acidic notes just right off the bat. And then it's just mixed with these blood orange, just fruity, citrusy notes.
It's better than most of the sours I've tried from the store.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. The night that I first tried it, we basically did our own sour fest, right? Like I had some, you had some. We just brought out and just yo, everybody, all of our roommates, just sit down, taste. What do you get? What's the quality of this? I ended up throwing most of that onto Instagram here shortly, but I wanted to have this episode to let you guys experience it. But it is one of my favorite sours right now because it smells super acidic, but the taste that you get, it isn't that acetic acid and bile flavor. It's actual fruit flavor.
Yeah, it's a very complex sour, which is a lot of what you want in a sour or fermented drink.
And it has that lovely sourness that it doesn't, to me it's not a puckering sour, but it makes you salivate, it brings that out and it's just wonderful.
And this is your first go.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
So it's called a Bloody Valentine because I brewed it somewhat to be ready on Valentine's Day for my girlfriend. So she loves sours.
Hell yeah.
So this is going to be my gift to her. And I gave her half the batch. So it's colored pink from the blood orange.
That's where it went.
So it's appropriate for Valentine's. And I knew she loves sours and this would be right up her alley. And I'm glad with how it turned out. Just really happy.
Yeah, this is delicious.
So
whatever it is, I'm in.
The idea with this is that this is supposed to be a segue, but obviously it's its own thing. This is a tangent we'll just stay on for a second. But I feel sours are very hit and miss, right? Sours are either that horrible flavor. They have that gose, salty, bile shit. sometimes they just have that like fruit note that powers home, that is what I want personally out of a sour, right? I want sours to be sour because of the fruit that's in them, not because they threw vinegar in there or taste like they threw vinegar.
Yeah, I think I personally just really like those vinegar notes, but I think that's a very specific type of person. And if you can find a sour that appeals to both of those people, I think you have something special. And Andrew,
True.
I think you made something special because it does have that fruit forward notes, but also all the characteristics that you look for in a sour. And so I think you nailed it, man.
So let's take a hard left turn. We're getting out of beer territory, which is something we don't always do, but I've been trying to get more less beer into our reviews here. So Cory, what have you done for us?
So this year, I think I already mentioned it, but I'm trying to mess around with fermented stuff. And one of my favorite fermented foods and or drinks is kombucha. So what we have on the show here today is the first batch of kombucha that I've ever made.
That booch.
Not as good. Yeah. I mean, you tried.
We'll work on it. So it was an oolong tea for the very first batch, and then I flavored it after.
Okay.
So I have a raspberry ginger one, a pineapple turmeric one, an apple cinnamon one, and then the one that I'm drinking is just the base booch.
So what made you go for those flavors?
I mean, I catered them towards who I knew was going to be on the show. I didn't know Andrew was going to be on the show because I didn't know when we would have this kombucha on. So I actually made the apple cinnamon for me because I thought it was interesting. But then Andrew said that he wanted to try it. And so I was happy with that. I was happy to share. But I don't think I've seen an apple cinnamon kombucha, or at least one that I've liked. Not. And so I've kind of catered these flavors towards you guys, and I hope they're good. I haven't tried them after the final carbonation. I tried them before I flavored them and then right after I flavored them, but I haven't tried them because they've been sitting for a while.
So do you have a best order that we should try these in?
I mean,
obviously
we should probably
first.
try the base first. And then I think maybe going pineapple turmeric, apple cinnamon, and then raspberry ginger.
All right.
Let's go.
Cory, go ahead and start us off. First kombucha we've had on the show.
Right away. Oh, to be fair, this is just a regular kombucha, so it's very trace alcohol. I still have to buy a carboy so I can make actual spiked kombucha. It'll happen. Just give it time. But right away from this base kombucha, it's very, very acidic smelling. It's a very, very murky, pale, peach colored.
So straw.
Yeah, there's a couple floaties from the culture still left in the bottle. So it's good for you. I'm actually very happy how this turned out. It's very crisp. It's not really sweet, but I want you guys to tell me.
What's funny though is that like the entire time, every single time Garion says kombucha, like I just want to like say something because you always say kombucha. And it's just like one of the most like Idaho things.
Kombucha.
And we got that kombucha now. The smell versus the taste is probably the furthest we've ever
It really
had.
is, yeah.
I called it. I was like, these are probably going to smell a lot different than how they taste.
Yeah, the apple cinnamon especially, it was just like wafting out of the room how cinnamony it was.
Standard booch smells like an undercarriage. like a taint is what it is. It smells like a taint. It smells a little sweaty. But it is fucking good, dude.
That's a
It's like
compliment.
really sweet. It's kind of fruity. There's really not a whole lot of acidity to that one.
Yeah, it's very nice and crisp.
Yeah, it's refreshing.
If someone were to hand me this and say, hey, drink this new drink I found, I'd think they're playing like a prank on me if I smelled it first. But the smell is not the greatest, but the taste is all there. Like I think this is so refreshing, actually.
Yeah. To convince someone to drink that, you're gonna be like, "Don't smell this, just drink it."
It's a little funky.
delicious. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is like your kettle sour there. Like smells super like vinegary, like acetic, but tastes actually just the fruit. So I'll be honest, not a fan of kombucha.
Not a surprise.
I love oolong tea. It's my second favorite, only behind jasmine. So, all right, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like fruity, almost a kind of vegetal, which is a bit weird to me. But like overall, it's solid. It's sweet. It's not like overpowering, which
Yeah.
a lot of kombucha that I've had It does feel like that. Like it feels like it just like punches you in the face and like, here's your flavor, bitch. And it's like, I didn't want all of that, just a little bit, please.
Yeah, and I think a lot of kombucha that you get from stores are flavored to be tailored to a different audience, and this one it's just flavored fermented
like a
tea.
blank
And so I
slate.
think it is pretty chill, but it does have a lot of funk to it still.
Yeah.
What was the base tea for that?
It was an oolong tea.
Oolong. Okay, I can kind of see that. Now that it's been like settling in my mouth, like almost like a pear,
Yeah.
or like a plum taste, like fruity
Yeah,
taste to it.
it's got some it's like fruity notes, but there wasn't any fruit in it, which is really weird. But I
It's
guess
like
that's
how
the best part about fermentation.
Yeah, yeast in beer like can produce the fruity esters. You know, you
Yeah.
get like banana
Yeah.
and shit like that. Kind of very similar.
Yeah, just a lot of weird notes that you wouldn't expect.
To me, it's like a lot of peach or pear kind of.
Yeah, pear I think is like
Yeah.
a good
Yeah.
call.
All right, I'm going to dive into this pineapple turmeric. It is very turmeric-y. Possibly a little too much, but I like turmeric, so I'm like really down for it. The pineapple is subdued, but going from the base to the pineapple, you can tell that there is pineapple there. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can distinguish it. I think if you just tried that first, you wouldn't really know that it's pineapple, but it's still really fruity. The turmeric isn't spicy like chili peppers or whatever, but it's spiced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a really good balance to me.
Okay, I just want to say, looking at this, it looks like a mango lassi.
Yeah.
And I can.
It's like a mango lassi with a tang.
Yeah.
I can see the turmeric cascading down to the bottom of the glass as I'm holding it. So,
Yeah,
But,
I might need to go easy on the turmeric.
but I kind of want to dive in on this. It smells very good. That's amazing, honestly. I think the combination of flavors added to the base are perfect. Like from a culinary perspective, that's spot on.
The smell, like the turmeric is like intense on there. It's like light sweet notes. But it's weird because like normally I'd associate pineapple with like a tropical, but it almost is like citrusy kind of. It's a sweet curry.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, those are definitely the same notes.
Yeah, I mean, as Gary was saying, turmeric heavy, but the pineapple is definitely there. It's kind of like the last thing I taste. I definitely agree. Cut down on the turmeric, maybe bump up the pineapple.
Yeah.
My concern on that is just pineapple is pretty acidic on its own. So do you think that that's going to like influence how it tastes and like?
Yeah, I went pretty easy because I just got one of the 6-ounce cans, and I just used one of those for this bottle because I wasn't making a whole batch. So if I do make a whole batch of pineapple turmeric, I might keep the same amount of turmeric, but up the pineapple count.
That's some good shit, I will say.
Oh yeah, it is super earthy, but it is very, very turmeric
I was gonna
heavy.
say, if you don't like turmeric, it's probably too much. But for
Yeah.
people who enjoy the flavor, it's almost like that dryness that brings contrast to how tart the drink is as a whole.
Yeah, it has a lot of earthiness to
So
it.
I'll say so far, Cory, 2 for 2, best kombucha I've had.
Hell yeah.
I think I don't think you should dial it back to turmeric at all. I think when you do eventually go to carboys, you'll be able to let that settle out.
Yeah,
and
it
pull
might
off
balance more.
You'll pull
Yeah.
off the bright kombucha that you want to bottle.
And leave the
Yeah,
turmeric at the bottom.
exactly. You'll still get the same flavor.
Yeah,
Essentially.
yeah, that is the problem because the turmeric is just chilling in there. I can't really separate it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the taste is on point. If there's any hesitation because of the way it looks, that's on the person drinking it.
Yeah.
All right, what's the next one we got here?
Okay, Andrew, you had the apple cinnamon one.
Ah, yes. Okay, ready for dessert.
Waft it. It's probably very
Yeah, I was going to
powerful.
say the smell on that one, even just like popping it open, the little spritz that you got.
It's so much better than the regular smell, though. I so much prefer cinnamon to.
Smells like straight cinnamon, heavy on the cinnamon, and like a hint of apple. And then as you taste it, I mean, it has pretty good carbonation.
Yeah, yours has like
I've
a
got-
solid carbonation.
I've got chunks of apple in.
Yeah, that is the problem with these homebrews.
Which is awesome, though. I think it's actually spot on as well. I think maybe I'm a little too lenient, but I mean, I like the amount of cinnamon poured into this, and then the apple complements it very well. Of course, I mean the two are like peas in a pod.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
So
Getting the chunkies.
Got some chunks in there. No. I mean, if you were going to bottle this for a long time, maybe not bottle it with the cinnamon stick, but like right where it's at right now, perfect. Just a tiny bit spicy, but it's like a sour apple pie.
Yeah, because I had to do just basically bottle batches, the flavors might be a little tense because there's literally a cinnamon stick in this whole bottle, so it might just overpower everything. That was what I was afraid of.
Honestly, for how much cinnamon is in there, especially like on the nose, it doesn't overpower everything.
Oh, sweet.
And maybe that's because I got some
still haven't
chunks.
tried it yet.
And I, like got
Chew some apple.
And the apple
the key.
is still pretty crisp. in
It
there,
is.
which is pretty dope.
Hell
So-
yeah.
You'd think the acidity would just mush it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. For whatever reason, apple and cinnamon makes me throw up. So I'm just barely gonna
See,
taste that
that's
at all.
why
Because
I
that
did
will make
not
me
make
sick.
this one for you.
Yeah, that will literally make me sick. So I can't drink much of it. But on its own, it's kind of like applesauce.
Yeah, it
pretty
really
nice.
is. I expected the cinnamon to become a lot more prevalent, but it's actually a good aftertaste.
Yeah.
You get the apple forward and then it just mellows out into a lot of cinnamon. I was afraid that it was just going to be burning amounts of cinnamon.
I dig it.
Yeah. Okay, Drew,
I'm hyped.
you got the last one. So this one is gorgeous. I did not expect this to become the color that it did.
It looks like you dyed it
Yeah.
Yeah. Until you see the raspberries in the pour, and then
with no color
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, they
raspberries.
got sucked out.
so this is a raspberry ginger, and I can see. I'm assuming it's just the flecks of ginger in there.
Yeah.
So raspberry, my favorite fruit. Ginger, I want to put it in everything.
Exactly.
Always.
Yeah. I was like, this is a Drew flavor combination.
Smells absolutely fantastic. All of the acetic notes are gone. It's just raspberry and then a tiny, tiny hint of ginger. Holy fuck, that's real good. The raspberry flavors there. There's honestly, I think you need to up the ginger, but on its own, it's mostly raspberry, a little bit of ginger, and I'm loving it. That's number one because that's so good. It's just raspberry kombucha, which was fantastic.
All right. Here it goes. Raspberry kombucha. Oh my God. That tastes so good.
Hell yeah.
I'm a huge fan of raspberries. I don't know if has anyone ever had the Mott's raspberry applesauce?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
That sounds amazing.
It's good.
That's used to be my favorite thing growing up. This is what it reminds me of. So it definitely plenty of raspberry flavor in here. And it just complements the base kombucha really well.
Yeah.
I think you're going to love this.
Yeah, I think that we could use just a little bit more ginger, but I think the ginger you have to kind of play pretty carefully just because it can, ginger when it's strong is
Yeah,
intense.
I know that
So the flecks
we
are
like
ginger?
Yeah, it's just diced up ginger, and I did just like with the cinnamon stick. I didn't want it to overpower, so I went easy on the ginger. But I personally would have loved just tons and tons of ginger.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I didn't want to go crazy, especially because this was the first batch.
I think, and I like ginger a lot, but that has just that little bit of a burn on the end and the ginger taste with the raspberry. If you go too far with the ginger, it might be to where you're really appealing to someone who only likes ginger. But that is fresh fucking raspberry with some sour. Oh,
it's delicious.
that's Bucha.
Oh, yeah, this
show,
is-
my friend.
Yeah, right?
So good. Yeah,
It has
it is.
more raspberry than actual fresh raspberry.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Almost,
is
yeah.
very raspberry heavy, and then the ginger just complements that crispness of the kombucha so well.
Yeah, I never would
damn,
think of
it's like you know how
kombucha
to make
as crisp,
Yeah.
but all of these kind of demonstrate that.
some good stuff. You guys.
Seriously,
This is-
we got some bangers in this episode. This is a wild episode.
I know. This is a perfect way to wrap this up because we've gone full circle on home brews. You can brew anything, apparently. Dude, this is way past what I thought this episode would wrap up to be.
Same.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah, honestly, when I kind of pitched this episode, it's hey, my roommate's a homebrewer. I'd like to get him on the episode. And it's well, what are we going to talk about? Homebrewing. Well, we already did an episode on that. But what if we actually talked about our local scene? And that's something that I think is very different because I feel a lot of even just even the scene that I came from in northern Utah, there was 6 people in the group that I worked with for homebrews, and that was it. They only shared beers amongst each other because that was the only people that they knew even did that. Then coming here and seeing what Andrew's done and what the Latter-day
The community, yeah.
group has done, there's so much going on, way more than what I think anyone would anticipate out of a Utah group.
Even just yesterday, I stopped at TF Brewing. My girlfriend's getting an oil change, and we stopped there for some samples. And I ran into some guy I know, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna open a meadery in a couple of years." I'm like, "This is just
Dude.
we're gonna have a meadery soon. I hope."
so down.
there's things going on constantly. And like it's great because like if you're in the community, you know a couple people, you'll meet a few, and then just branch out. Next thing you know, you're talking to people who are like opening shop and going pro. It's really nuts.
I'm so sorry for the disrespect that I just put on that last few sentences. I just drank the dregs of turmeric from the pineapple
chugged
turmeric, and I
tablespoons of turmeric.
And like he did it all like knowing that he was on the mic and just like sat there. That's a Garion moment right there.
Chewed through it.
There's just an orange mud stain leading from the bottom of the glass to the top.
What would you say is the booch of the show?
raspberry.
The raspberry is hard to beat. I do like the apple cinnamon, but this base booch.
Base booch is so it's solid. Like it's
so
funny
good.
because like tasting that, I'm just like immediately was like, this is better than any commercial kombucha that I've had.
For sure.
And I was just like,
But mostly because it's not as acidic.
Yeah, I actually made a little batch for my boss, and he actually said the same exact thing. He's like, "This is the best kombucha I've ever had." I was like, "Nah, you're just shitting
Pass
because
that
you're my
base
boss."
booch around after having the rest of these. There is just a hint of foot fungal. You know what I mean? Like you get more of that. Like
why do you get so excited about that? Foot fungal.
I was gonna say I really like that kind of thing. Like as gross as it sounds to call it foot, there's like no other thing you can associate the taste with versus the smell. But like it's very fungal and sour and
like you say that and like immediately that association I recognize and I'm like,
You saw it.
This is no longer the best just plain boot. Sorry, Cory. Gary just threw that in the dumpster for you. Actually,
I really like it though. That's my shit, man. But it is like that classic. You can tell it's fermented. You know what I mean? It's that thing that like our brains are hardwired to kind of be adverse to that just because that's how we know whether or not something's spoiled and we shouldn't eat it. And it's just that hint of that where it's like, it's on the edge, man. I like that. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I think the base has some complexity to it. It's nice to pick it apart and really focus on the base and what natural components are there before adding anything to it. But I gotta say, I think I'm actually a fan of the turmeric.
turmeric is really good.
It's my second, yeah.
I think the nice orange color. Like, don't get me wrong, the raspberry is beautiful. The apple is beautiful. But
I like the apple because you got something to chew on too.
It is chunky.
I just love that turmeric. I think that's just a nice change. And I don't think there's many apple cinnamons around. I want to say like that's something that I should see more of. I think you gotta brew some more.
It's a classic
of that.
combo.
That's a great dessert.
Especially with this
Yeah.
base. Like it's perfect.
Yeah, I definitely need to get more of this base and then try these brews again and balancing them once more.
Well, I think it's a good place to wrap it up here. Not the most magic forward, but I think that homebrewing is something that everyone can relate to one way or another.
It's a different kind of magic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for, chilling, hanging out with us, maybe drinking with us. Hopefully you're drinking with us. This was a great experience for all four of us.
If you're drinking, be responsible.
Obviously, don't drink underage and do not drink and drive. But as we like to say on this podcast,
Have fun.
And get yourself some homebrew.